you, Shelley?
I'm 41.
And what's today's date?
November 23rd, 2010.
And where are we?
We're at my house.
Okay. What was the happiest moment in your life?
Probably becoming a mother.
And why was that the happiest moment?
Because once I became a mother, I learned a whole new level of love.
How old's your oldest kid?
My oldest is 23 years old.
How old's your youngest?
I have twins that are 8.
Okay, since becoming a mom makes you the happiest, what was the saddest moment in your life?
When I lost my dad.
Why was that the saddest?
Because I loved him, and we always had a really close bond, and I watched him waste away with cancer in 4 months.
Who was the biggest influence on your life?
Probably my dad.
Why was he the biggest influence?
He taught me responsibility and honesty and integrity, and that anything I want to have, I've got to work for.
Those are really good lessons to be taught. So what's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory I was probably about 5 years old, and I remember sneaking out of the bedroom and down the hallway in a mobile home to peek at my parents after bedtime while they were watching TV. That's about the earliest I can think of.
If you could hold on to one memory from your life for an eternity, what would it be?
Probably the trip I took with my dad to West Virginia, where he was born and raised, and we went over the Father's Day weekend, the Father's Day before we found out he had cancer.
Why would that be the one memory you would hold on to?
It was just such a special trip because I learned a lot about where he came from and how far he had gone and everything he'd sacrificed for his family. And it was the last trip that I got with him.
Okay. What are the proudest moments in your life?
The proudest moments in my life? When I graduated, when I had my children, when I got married, that's probably about it.
Where did you graduate from?
Campus High School in Hayesville.
What year?
1987.
How many kids do you have?
I have 8 children. I have 6 of my own biological children and 2 stepsons.
What was your first job?
My first job was at Dairy Queen in Wichita. I was supposed to be a cashier, but I only lasted a week, so I never made it out of the kitchen.
How old were you?
I was 16.
Why did you only make it a week?
Because at the time, it was too hard. It was a lot of work. The manager was very, very strict. We were there an hour to 2 hours after closing just to scrub the floors with little brushes, and my parents were worried about it affecting my schoolwork, so they asked me to stop working there.
Okay, and you said you were married?
Yes, I've been married for 13 years. In my second marriage, I was married before that for 6 years. I had 4 children from my first marriage. And my second marriage with Larry, I have 2 children that are 8 years old. And I have 2 stepsons that he had before we got together.
And where did you meet him?
I met Larry at the Cockeyed Cowboy. It was a club in Wichita. It's now closed, but we got there in 1992.
Okay, now that we know about your married life, let's go back to your childhood. When was the first time you were ever away from home overnight?
I don't know. I was still in elementary school. I was pretty young. I stayed the night at a neighbor's, probably 4 buildings away. We lived in base housing. My parents had to come pick me up in the middle of the night because I got scared.
Okay, in school, who was your worst teacher you ever had?
Worst teacher I ever had? Oh my gosh, probably Mrs. Craig, and she's a principal there now. She passed me, told me I couldn't pass psychology without at least a B on the test. On the final, I got a D on the final, and I still passed. But I was pregnant at the time, and I think she had some sympathy going on.
Okay, how has your life turned out differently than what you imagined when you were younger?
I certainly never expected to have 8 kids or to be married twice. I thought that I would be a nurse right now, and I'm actually working in education. Other than that, for the most part, it's turned out about the same. I'm close with my family. I live in the kind of house I thought I would live in, and we're getting ready to relocate to Washington, which is something I never thought I would do. I never thought I would leave Kansas.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I really don't, because I feel like everything you do leads you to where you're at in your life, and I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
What does your future hold?
Well, in March we're moving to Washington State. Planning on living there for at least 11 years so my husband can finish his job and retire there and keep our insurance. And he's going to work on days. Right now he's working second shift. And I don't know, the future's kind of out there right now. It's going to be an adventure.
Okay, what's the best decision you ever made?
The best decision I ever made by far was to marry my husband, Larry.
And how would you like to be remembered?
I just would like people to remember me as someone who cared and tried to do what was right and tried to do what was best and always was more concerned about other people than herself.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for letting me interview you. I enjoyed learning more about you.
Thank you, Heidi.